Good afternoon. We'd like to welcome all of you here today as we celebrate and recognize and commemorate the life of Nical Orton. We're so thankful that all of you could come here. You know, I've always thought how sad it is that the time we get together is when everybody makes a special trip to get here is when we have a funeral. We should get together more often than other times. It's such a lot of good people to know and to be around. We're thankful that you're here. Dr. Michael's family welcomes you and thanks you for the efforts you made to get here. And I heard it once said that don't cry because it's over, but smile because it happened. And maybe we need to remember that, especially throughout this day. I want all of you to enjoy each other and to just have a good time getting to know each other again. And I'm sure that's what Michael would want. I'd like to thank Darrell Rollins for beautiful prelude music and for Nical Orton for leading us in the singing. We will begin by singing hymn number 101, Guide Me to Thee, after which the opening prayer of the invocation will be by Nical Orton.
Yes. opportunity of celebrating the life and times of our brother, our father, our friend, our teacher, Nical Orton. We're thankful unto Thee, Father, for the opportunity that we have had in this life to know Him and to have Him to be a part of our lives and to share with us His talents and abilities. We're thankful, Father, for Thy love. We know our happiness and joys come from Thee, and we desire to show appreciation for Thee and for Thy Son. We're thankful for the heritage which we have, for those who come before us and taught us and shared with us their loves and hopes and dreams. We're thankful. We ask Thee, Father, to bless those who will speak to us this day and to impart with us their feelings. May they be blessed with Thy Spirit to guide and direct them. May we have a listening ear and also be touched by Thy Spirit, touched with humility and with comfort and the joy that we need. We ask Thee, Father, to bless us with Thy Spirit in all that we do. May we remember Thee in all of our actions. We do this in the name of Thy Son, our Savior, Redeemer, and our Advocate, even Jesus Christ. Amen.
Our service will go as follows. We'll hear from Chad White, the obituary, and the eulogy from Ariana Orton. And we'll hear from Marcel Orton. We'll have a special musical number by the Jensen Choir and others in the family that are going to join them. We thank them. Then we'll hear from Wanda Mohamson. Following Wanda Mohamson's talk, we will sing hymn number 152, God Be With You Till We Meet Again, and the benediction will be by Rosa Jensen.
Me for a while, just have a quick talk with my sister partner.
We're doing this on the fly. I'm going to go first, even if my voice shakes. My first memories of my father are about hearing him sing. It was one of those things that always was, him singing. I remember being small enough that he would carry me places, and I loved being snuggled up next to his chest, feeling the vibrations of his song wherever he went, wherever we went. I was devastated the day he told me I was too big for him to carry me around anymore. He sang his way through life. He said he learned that from his mom, and he thought it was a fine way to live. He once told me that he had been a Bob Dylan and Jerry Garcia impersonator as a stage act when I was very young. He could sound exactly like either one of them and play their songs on the guitar just like them. But long before I knew anything about either of them, I grew up hearing him sing in their voices. He would sing me to sleep in his voice and theirs. He would sing while he worked in the garden in his voice and theirs. Cover your ears, Mom. He would drive me around in his car and sometimes let me sit on his lap and drive, singing in his voice and theirs. I cannot hear Bob Dylan or Jerry Garcia without thinking about my dad. And it took me years to figure out which voice was his own. So if you're asking me, they sound like him, not the other way around. He even introduced himself a few times with music. He said, it's pronounced Nical, like motorcycle. From an early age, music always filled his home, his life, his career, and his heart. It drew him away from home, and he drew it back in with him whenever he returned. He traveled in early days with the Grateful Dead, in charge of maintenance, setup, and takedown of musical equipment for the shows. He talked about it lovingly and often when we spent time together in recent years. My early childhood memories are a steady stream of music and musicians curling like smoke in and out of the house. In later years, whenever I would go visit him, there were always guitars and various pieces of equipment tucked into this or that tight spot in various stages of restoration. That's how I remember the space around him looking when I was young. That's how it looked last week. Until he was sick, my father barely sat around and did nothing. No television ever had pride of place in his home, and just as his home was the place where guitars waited for their turn to be lovingly restored, his driveway and garage were full of old cars lined up waiting for his touch. As a child, he would have me hold this or that rag, part, instruction manual, while he did his work. Later, as an adult, whenever we would meet somewhere, he would tell me what he was doing with the car or truck that he was driving. He had maybe repainted it, and he would speak dreamily about the color, touching it. He was fond of robin's egg blue, telling me what it reminded him and why he chose it. Or he was looking for this or that fender, light fixture, fabric. Last week, I think there were 5 cars in his driveway, some up on blocks, waiting their turn. With his art always came interesting people. What I learned from him about life in general is that there are many ways to live in this world, and everyone has a story. Watching him, I learned to be interested in other people's stories and to let them inform my own. He taught me that my way of doing things was not the only right way. Watching him, I learned that there are things to learn in unexpected places and unexpected people, and at that moment when I think I know it all, it's time to start listening again. Watching him taught me to be open-minded, to love and accept, to meet people where they are. Watching him taught me that love is what draws people home. I watched his mother teach him that. He may not have always gotten it right, but he always got it. I watched him pass it on to me, and I watched myself pass it on to my children. In the past year or two, he and I have been having conversations about his desire to return to the church. He and Alejandra have been studying the scriptures together, and he has been trying to get himself ready to take her to the temple. It has made my heart so happy to hear each of them talk about the other with such deep affection when they thought the other one wasn't listening. They both told me how they love to greet each other through their open bedroom window, like a secret rendezvous, when one would come home and the other one was there. They would pass flowers or small gifts to each other through the window, keeping their courtship alive, whispering their future plans. Theirs was a sweet and unexpected love story. They want to be together, and I just can't see them letting a little thing like this get in their way. Nical Orton lived out loud. He was unapologetically himself, which allowed space for me to learn to do the same. We didn't disagree on much, but he taught me that you can disagree with someone and still respect them, and maybe even love them all the way down to their toes. Him I love all the way down to his very fancy cowboy boots and secret purple socks, which he chose to be buried in so that he would be presentable when the resurrection comes. I was going to have Arlo Guthrie close this for me, but we couldn't get YouTube to cooperate. So I'm going to sing a very short snippet of a song that he sang to me 1,000,000 times, because I think it is the most Nical flavored benediction I could come up with. I don't want to die. I did that wrong. I don't want a pickle. I just want to ride my motorcycle. And I don't want to die. I just want to ride my motorcycle.
Because we are Nical's children, we are doing things a totally different way than it should normally be done. So bear with us. I'm going to read you the thing. The obituary. Yeah. Okay. Nical Orton, 70 of Kent, Washington, died July 22nd, 2018. Nical, son of Alba and Clara Orton, beloved husband of Alejandra Cano Orton, died at Valley Medical Center, Renton. I'm getting old, I don't have glasses. Of complications following his heart attack, he is survived by his wife, Alejandra, and 9 children: Lori, Ariana, Chad, Nicole, Ellie, Claudio, Roberto, Armando, and Maribel's. He is also survived by 15 grandchildren, 2 great-grandchildren, 10 siblings, and many nieces and nephews. Family was very important to him. He loved his brothers and sisters and always stressed the value of family to his children. Nical especially enjoyed working on old cars, restoring and improving them. He loved music and he loved good cowboy boots. He had a passion for playing the guitar and for singing, and he loved it when he could share that gift with his children and grandchildren. He insisted on opening his home every Sunday evening to feed the LDS missionaries in his area. He is greatly missed by his family, friends, and church community. Services will be held on Saturday, August 14th at the LDS Church. Hey, where you're at right now. Thank you. Welcome. I wrote a little bit down that I wanted to say today. And I don't know how well I'll get through it. I don't think I'll get through it quite as well as Ariana. I may have to stop from time to time, and I hope you will forgive me if that is the case. I want you all to know that our dad loved every one of you very much. He beamed when he talked about music, cars, and family, but he beamed in a different way when he talked about family. He had a rather sparse and measured way of speaking, same as his parents and his brothers and sisters. He was a great listener. You could easily tell when he felt deeply about something because he would start beaming, especially about family. The last time he visited me at my house in Salem, I remember we were standing in my garage, small talking about motorcycles. The subject soon turned to his home and his life. He beamed about Alejandra and Claudio. I knew that he was in a really happy place with them. I only got to see their home once, and it was 2 weeks ago yesterday, and unfortunately Dad wasn't there. I felt very comfortable there. I knew he was in the best part of his life there, and that he was very, very at home with them. And I want to thank Alejandro and Claudio for taking such good care of him and loving him so well and making him so happy. That day, after returning from the hospital, Lori, Claudia, and myself were outside talking about him. There's a lot you could say about him, right? A lot. Lori brought up the most salient and quintessential thing in my eyes: his originality. He was an original. I mean, definitely an original. I think there's a lot of people that say that they don't care about what others think. I think the vast majority of those people are not being truthful when they say that. But when Dad said it, you knew it. You knew that he didn't care what other people thought. He was the most original man I've ever known. And to paraphrase one of my favorite authors, this is just sort of the way I view him. He was one of God's own special prototypes, never really meant for mass production. I'm honored to be his son, and I'm honored to be a part of this family, even if I don't make it to enough family reunions. Thanks, everybody.